Freya, the sexy goddess of love, has called for the destruction of humanity. Shiva, the god of destruction, also voted in favor. At the once-in-a-millennium meeting of the gods, the god king, Zeus, decided to completely destroy humanity because of their destruction of the Earth's ecosystem. The other gods also voted in favor, just as Zeus was about to strike the hammer of judgment. The half-human, half-god Valkyrie Brunhild arrived on time. She used a special clause in the gods' code to negotiate the remaining chance for humanity. The human side could send 13 representatives, fight the gods in a 1-to-1 duel. If humanity won 7 battles, they would be allowed to exist for another 1,000 years. The gods were disdainful and thought it was a waste of time, and so Valkyrie Brunhild mocked, "Are you afraid?
You're all completely terrified, aren't you?"
And with that comment, the gods were outraged. Zeus did not hesitate to strike the hammer of judgment. He knew Brunhild, Valkyrie, was on the side of humans, so Brunhild had to choose their representatives. Brunhild said she would choose the strongest 13 people in 7 million years of human history. A struggle for the survival of mankind has begun. The first battle. The gods have sent Thor, the strongest Norse god of thunder. His Thor's hammer is powerful enough to destroy the sky and the earth. It is said that so far, no one has ever seen Thor's true strength. The first to appear on behalf of humans, Lu Bu, the strongest warrior of the Three Kingdoms period. As the referee's whistle sounded, as top powerhouses, they have absolute confidence in their own strength. They walk towards each other in unison, although the two were not of the same race. But they have one thing in common, that is, they have always defeated their enemies with one move so far. Lu Bu looked down at Thor, raising the Uea Jin. He struck the hammer of Thor with a fierce blow. Their collision created a powerful air current. Lu Bu was slightly flabbergasted. He didn't expect Thor to be so strong. Then with fierce force, he knocked Thor back tens of meters. Lu Bu took advantage of the situation and pursued him. The Uea Jin in his hand kept building up strength, and then hit down hard. However, Thor effortlessly blocked Lu Bu's attack and launched a counterattack. Lu Bu quickly defended himself, and the weapons crashed once more, generating a powerful impact that even shattered the ground of the arena. Everyone present was stunned that Lu Bu, a mortal, was standing up to a god in battle. Thor's strength was much more than that. He was able to accumulate the power of lightning in his He constantly gathered lightning power in his hands and raised his hammer high above his head hands. He made an extremely exaggerated backward movement. When the crowd was confused, the atmospheric pressure in the field was instantly gathered by Thor to Thor's hammer. Thor's hammer suddenly burst out a pillar of light. Everyone in the arena was dumbfounded. Such a huge energy wave. Many people thought Lu Bu would die for sure. However, the surprising thing was that Lu Bu not only resisted the attack of Thor's hammer, he also left a bone-deep wound on Thor's chest. The gods were stunned at the sight, but soon Zeus realized something was wrong, because there was no way a human weapon could resist Thor's hammer. A Valkyrie who was standing nearby smirked proudly. In fact, she had already prepared for it. The reason why the gods are so powerful is because of the divine weapons they have cultivated in the heavenly realm. What if humans had divine weapons too? So she gathered the remaining 11 Valkyries. It turns out that the Uea Jin in Lu Bu's hand is not an ordinary weapon, but a divine weapon transformed by the flesh of the Valkyries. And this move is also called Artifact Reforged. With the blessing of the divine weapons, Lu Bu's attacks became even fiercer. With the power of the Valkyries' artifacts, Thor's artifact gloves were also shattered. Now the gods were completely stunned, because without the artifact gloves, this meant that Thor would not be able to use Thor's hammer. Just as everyone was shouting for Lu Bu, Thor's hammer in the field emitted a hot glow. Then the exterior of the hammer shattered, revealing the terrifying muscles. I never thought that Thor's hammer was alive. The gloves Thor wore were not to protect Thor, but to suppress his real power. This was a 9-ton glove, which looked light and fluttery, but exploded upon landing. When the smoke cleared, the ground was blown out of a deep crater. The audience in the arena was dumbfounded. Thor raised the hammer of Thor. His body emitted an incredible amount of energy. The airflow from his body spreads outward. With the awakening of Thor's hammer, Thor really entered the battle. Facing such a terrifying opponent, Lu Bu became extremely serious. Thor said to Lu Bu, "Don't die on me." Then he threw the hammer of Thor with all his might. Thor's hammer whirled in the air. Soon it reached the speed of light. Just in the nick of time, Lu Bu dodged the attack by leaning back perfectly. Thor's hammer flew into the audience. Taking advantage of the opportunity, Lu Bu charged forward, leapt high into the air, and attempted to strike Thor with a fatal blow. At this moment, Thor's hammer suddenly appeared behind Lu Bu. Lu Bu can only give up the attack and swings his body back to avoid the attack of Thor's hammer. The high-speed rotation of Thor's hammer also returned to Thor's hands. In fact, Thor's true purpose was to utilize the hammer's extreme speed and centrifugal force to unleash his ultimate move. In an instant, the arena shook with earth-shattering force. Powerful wave of air shaking people cannot open their eyes. Seeing this scene, Grani let out a cry of sadness. When the smoke cleared, Lu Bu had blocked Thor's strongest blow. The human audience erupted in deafening cheers, while the gods were left speechless. But as a human, Lu Bu's flesh had reached its limit. The bones of his legs began to break, even though Lu Bu had a lot of resentment in his heart. At that moment, he could only fall to his knees. A lot of blood spilled from his feet. Thor looked at the proud man in front of him. His heart was filled with respect. Just as he was about to finish off Lu Bu, Grani rushed into the arena and came to Lu Bu's side. Grani licked Lu Bu's wound and then shook its head, indicating for Lu Bu to turn over and get on the horse. Sensing Grani's unyielding will, Lu Bu held onto Yue Jian and endured the pain. His body began to exert strength. Surprisingly, he actually stood up. At that moment, the whole audience was boiling. Seeing such a resilient Lu Bu, Thor smiled excitedly. Lu Bu leapt onto the horse. His eyes were full of fearlessness. This time he will do his best. In his quest for the pinnacle of martial arts, Lu Bu had trained alone at the top of the mountain, from dawn to dusk, and from dusk to night. After countless days and nights of cutting practice, the remaining wreckage of Yue Jian had piled into a mountain. Finally, one day, Lu Bu had achieved the most amazing skill. His full power attack even split the atmosphere of the sky. This move was also named Sky Eater. After using this move, Yue Jian not only broke but completely turned into molecules. But this move is destined to be alone, because it could not be used on humans. Until today, thousands of years later, Lu Bu finally encountered an evenly matched opponent. He can use the strongest weapon to make the strongest move. Thor also used the most powerful hammer of the god of thunder. Respond to this worthy opponent. The whole area was covered with holy light, and then straight to the clouds. It broke through the thick cloud layer. The light inside the arena was so bright that it almost blinded people. When the curtain of light cleared, Lu Bu's flesh was torn apart. The Valkyrie, which had been transformed into a divine weapon, was also knocked back to her original form. Lu Bu was completely defeated. He bit off his broken arm. Then he rode Grani and rushed towards Thor with the determination to die. Thor also understood his idea. He delivered the strongest blow to Lu Bu. Although Thor won the race, but there was no joy in his heart. Just as he was about to leave the arena, the familiar sound of horses' hooves sounded in his ears. Grani was filled with tears, and the loyal army of Lu Bu, they wanted to show the gods what it meant to die together. Thor raises Thor's hammer. Lu Bu's defeat is a defeat of the soul, and the fourth Valkyrie that turned into a divine weapon, they had become dust. They will not rise again. The Valkyrie Brunhild did not grieve, because she knew it was useless to be sad. She had to choose the right human power for the second match. After careful consideration, she decided to send the human being who hates the gods the most. His identity is coded as one, meaning he was the first human being in the world. He is the first ancestor of mankind, Adam.